to the second episode of Your Vegan Heart. Today I'm going to make breaded tofu and I'm going to add a chipotle spice to it. I've noticed that a lot of meat eaters and people that don't cook with tofu have no idea what to do with it. So I thought it would be kind of helpful to show what I do with it, and it's a really simple, easy way to make it taste great. And there's only 5 ingredients that go in this. Tofu, extra firm, tamari or soy sauce, breadcrumbs, Italian is what I used, and chipotle spice, and also a little bit of olive oil for the pan. So I guess I'll just start. I'll start by prepping my plates that I'm going to use as little stations for the dipping. So you're going to want to use about 3/4 of a cup of breadcrumbs. You could probably get away with 1/2 cup, but we'll just do 3/4. You're going to need 3 tablespoons of tamari or soy sauce, whichever one you want, it doesn't really matter. And put that in the first bowl. Okay, and you want to add about, I would say, 1/4 of a teaspoon of chipotle powder. You can get this at usually the bulk section of like Whole Foods or something like that. And if you can't find a bulk section, you can probably find it in a little jar. And if you don't like chipotle, you can use cayenne or whatever spicy sort of spice you want. But you can also totally leave out the spice and just have it be breaded tofu. So I'm going to add that in and mix it around a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to taste it and see how spicy it is, because sometimes it's hard to tell. I would go ahead and add a little bit more myself, but please taste it and see if it's to your liking, because some people can't handle any spice, so make sure that it's right where you want it. Okay, so that's all ready. Before I go any further, I want to explain what kind of spatula you want to use when you're frying these in the pan. Use a thin metal spatula, because if you don't, you're going to have breadcrumbs everywhere and they won't stick to the tofu, so this gets right underneath the tofu and the breadcrumbs and keeps them on there, and it's really important. And you also want to preheat your pan. You can use a non-stick pan. I like cast iron, and I just put olive oil on it and heat it up to like medium-high heat while I'm doing this stuff so that it's ready. Okay, so I'm going to cut the tofu into cubes. You can do sticks or triangles or whatever you want, but I'm just going to do cubes today. So you can watch how I cut it. Just down lengthwise, and then down the middle, and then into quarters, and then you can do you could do about thirds that way. You don't have to be perfect about it, and then you end up with pieces that are about that big, and they are perfect little cubes for frying in your pan. Okay, so these are all cut up now, and I'm just going to throw a couple into my tamari that I already put in the bowl and get them all covered. And then you toss them in the breadcrumbs and cover them. And once they're all covered, you put them in a little dish that you have all set right next to you, and they will sit and wait for their friends to get bathed and crumbed. I usually do like 3 at a time or so. It doesn't really matter. 3 left. And I am almost ready to put them in the pan. That's already been heated, or heating, waiting for me. Let me just put these on the plate. Okay, and another thing I forgot to say was that I didn't press the tofu beforehand. I didn't really squeeze it out too hard. I just sort of lightly pressed on it over the sink and got out any extra water that came out, but I really didn't do any major pressing or anything like that. So don't worry about that step, because it's just not important for this. And you also don't have to worry about having really dry tofu because you're dipping it in soy sauce anyway. The really important thing is that you use dry breadcrumbs from the can. You don't want to use fresh because they'll get really soggy. So now I'm going to put them in the pan and fry them up. Okay, so my pan is ready, and I know it's ready because if I test out a piece, it sizzles in the pan. I don't know if you can hear that, but it is ready. So I'm going to put them all in. I don't have to be too careful. And I'm going to let them sit there for at least 5 minutes on each side, or just on some side, and then you can flip them. You don't have to make sure every side is covered. They'll kind of do that themselves. Okay, so these are all nicely browned. I'm going to take them off the stove, turn off the heat, and you can see how important it is to have the spatula for really getting under them, putting them on the plate. Okay. Well, thanks for watching again. I hope that this comes out really tasty for you. And follow me online at yourveganheart.com, and I'm going to post this video and this recipe so that you know exactly what the measurements were in case you missed it. And stay tuned for more recipes, and see you next time. Bye. I wish that I didn't